Like this full-time, obviously 10K, blah, 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 blah. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. It's
Swipe up for webbing.
Yeah, trust. I saw that.
Yeah, that's the key.
Did it just happen automatically, that swipe up thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you just want to keep posting content because you're in a role. The thing that I haven't been throughout the years is consistent, because I've tried, and I'll say successfully tried, to have both a 9-to-5 and a side hustles. But now my side hustles, thank God, are growing at a speed where they're like, look, we're not babies anymore. You can't keep pushing us to the side for a job. So yeah, I have to make sure I stay on board, that I'm mixing it in. I want to start mixing it with personal finance a lot more, which I already do. And I've always been about fashion, finance and feminism. So I feel like that mark is really coming together and starting to show on my in my social media presence.
So one thing I got loads to say on that, but like we'll just mix and match. But on social media, how do you maintain your authenticity when you're trying to grow your numbers and your audience? Because some of your audience might not want the fashion but want the finance. So for example, I'm thinking Instagram.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I don't know, do you use Instagram the same way you use LinkedIn?
No, it's all different. It's
different, right?
It's like different channels.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's BBC News and there's E.
True. So, but for Instagram, how do you just promote all the stuff that you're doing on that platform?
Yes. So I am basically the hub. I am effectively my own holding company.
Yeah.
And then everything else is a separate entity from me. So Rich Girl Chronicles is, of course, an accountability group for people who want to step up their personal finances and become more confident. And then Tira, there's Rice at Home, is now its own apparel company. So this has been the dream for at least about two to 4 years now. And it's coming together. And of course the Bola Sol show. There's so many things that I'm doing behind the scenes that I forget other people can't see.
Okay.
So someone said to me the other day, oh, would you come on my show? Like, and I said, yeah, sure. And I said, message me in Q1. And he said, Q1 of 2021. And I said, yeah.
Like, huh? Sis?
He was like, but this is the thing. I always say people confuse visibility with accessibility.
Yeah, I know, Charles.
And that's not how
your
it
DMs
works.
are open 24/7.
And they're not. And, you know, I do try to check my DMs daily. Yeah, I keep my emails clear. Like, LinkedIn, maybe I'll check twice a week because there's a lot of spam on there. But I do try to keep up to date, but a time might come where I might not be able to, but I have a social media manager for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to go into that. We've got stuff. So we've got Bola Sol in the building. Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much, Bola, for joining and being on the show. Been a long time friend from day dot, from uni
now. 10 years solid.
10 years, man, a decade.
Isn't it so weird that now it's like we are long-term friends? So then it makes me think, so the friends that you know from primary school or secondary school, what are they? Because there's such a merge that I'm like, oh, did I meet him in uni or was it college? I never forget secondary school because it was a 5-year stretch, but
yeah, now we've entered that kind of long-term friendship. Now it's past a decade, right?
I know.
That's mad, and we stayed in touch as well.
There's
loads of people that I don't speak to, like from uni,
I know.
And you know, it just shows like good friends will stick around, and,
absolutely.
And even if they don't, it's that's why you've got best friends, good friends, acquaintances.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Best friends, good friends, acquaintances.
Cool. So this is not your everyday podcast where we just talk about growth moments, the moments that you decided to level up, to change careers, to just pursue your dreams. And I brought you on because I've seen the growth in the last couple of years in your journey as a personal finance wellness coach. And I think it's amazing, and I just wanted to put you on to talk about that journey, because I know there's a lot of people out there who want to do something similar, whether it's either start their own business, start their own show, start their own podcast, write a book. There's a number of stuff that you've done, and I wanted to kind of put you on because I think you've got a great story, and there's so much that so much potential that you've got that's still just like waiting, and it's just unleashing. Like, and I know that 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to be unbookable. Like, I won't be able to get you on. I would have to start paying. 5, 6, 7 years from now, I'm gonna I'll see you on TV, cash, normal. It's normal. And I would want to look back at this kind of episode and be like, yeah, this is when we were talking about where you were at this point in time. And I'd love to see I'm excited actually to see where your life is taking you, because you're growing every year, and I'm really proud of you as well. And I just want to, I'm rooting from the sidelines. So, okay, cool, Bola. So tell me in 1 minute, we're gonna play a game. As you know, on the podcast, I usually ask my guests, just in 1 minute, tell me your life story, so that people who don't know you has got a glimpse of what you're about, basically. So in 1 minute, I'm gonna time you as well.
Go on.
Tell me your life story. 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so I've always loved mathematics, and I thought I wanted to be an accountant. I absolutely didn't. And then I loved cricket, so I was captain of the cricket club. I wanted to try a stab at leadership. So I did. When I got to college, I became president of the student union that was overseeing 4,000 students. And then I went and got a mathematics and finance degree at the University of Essex. What else happened? And then I wanted to be a CEO of a big finance company. I went into the real world and I felt it was completely hard. So I started my own company when I was 23 years old. I am now 28 years old. I own 4 companies so far, and I'm still growing.
So what are those 4 companies?
Yes. The Bola Sol Show, Refined Currency, Rich Girl Chronicles, and T-Raw. So there's Rice at Home. Cool,
perfect. So, and you've got a few seconds to spare, that's excellent.
I'm one of 6 children. No, one of 7 children, sorry.
One of 7?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to get into those, the various businesses that you own. So right now I'm going to ask a question about your achievements. So what are you most proud of in terms of your achievements? It could be anything.
Honestly, it was being named one of 25 black businesses to know by Forbes. I think.
Yeah, why?
When you start off with an idea, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And the more I grew, I think the more I felt nervous of my potential, because people were like, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. And it can be quite scary, because I can say sometimes success can be somewhat traumatizing. Because in a sense, people can begin to idolize you, and that is a very scary thing, especially when you're black.
Yeah.
It's almost like any form of success comes with fame. Word to J. Cole, GOMD. So it's both amazing and a little nerve-wracking.
So is the nerves of your fulfilling your potential comes from you, or comes from other people putting their pressure onto you?
It can come from other people putting their pressure onto me, and feeling like I am becoming the voice of reason, or that people want to ask my opinion so often. I think I've become comfortable being that person, but before I wasn't, because growing up, I feel like I always kind of struggled to fit in. And it sounds weird saying that, but I think, that's why I kind of abbreviated my name to Bola Sol, because I was like, I don't know where I fit in, so if I have to stand by myself, I will.
So I want to talk about finance and your journey to finance, how you got there, where you started, and being a female in finance as well. So my first question is, how did you become confident talking about finance? Because this is about growth moments, so we really want to understand, how did you grow to get to where you are now? So if you just kind of cast your mind back to when you decided, like, I'm going to be intentional about finance, like, when was that moment?
I think when I was 22, I didn't move back home straight after university. I moved in with my sister, and then my sister moved out. And there were so many things I didn't understand about money. I never used my overdraft in uni. I didn't know that was a thing. But then now I've come to learn about leverage. And one of the best ways I learned to talk about money was by being honest and not fearing judgment. Because at times we feel like the only people who should talk about money are people in the millions.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is fair. That is not a fair story. It is key that we learn to discuss money at all levels and maybe look at our privilege and say, how can we make this more accessible for others?
So can you describe the moment? Was there a moment where you felt like the lights switched on, or the penny dropped, or you realized someone said something to you that confirmed or affirmed something to you that this is what I'm meant to do, so I'm going to take this step day one towards being a personal finance wellness coach?
It was my father's passing in Nigeria. When I realized, I always knew I was named after my granddad, so my father's father, but it was understanding the legacy behind my granddad, seeing his will, understanding that we have the same name and I was named after him on purpose, that I was like, this is not an accident. I am not just here. I was given my name with intention. I'm one of 7 children between my mum and dad. The name was given with intention. I want to walk in this journey with intention. That's key.
Yeah. And then how did you start going into that field of personal finance and being a finance coach? What were the things you did practically that got you on the ladder?
I just started a blog.
Right.
I started a blog and I was just like, I do not have the money, but I have a bit of sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some Googling, I'm going to start a blog, and I'm going to go from there. And I'm going to start a personal brand as well to help my company grow. And that is exactly what I did. I just did both, and I was just like, right, and I was tweeting, then I started scheduling, and then I wasn't really big on Instagram at the time, but I said I'm going to use as many social media platforms as I can to discuss money. I would speak at conferences and things for free if I had to, because I wanted to get the message out. Not necessarily come and find me and my business, but be confident in you. What decisions are you making intentionally with your money? Sort of vibe. So I started there in 2015 and we're here now. And it's been a fantastic journey of making mistakes, but learning about myself, figuring out my flaws and things, where I need to be softer on others, where I need to be softer on myself, where I need to be harder, and make my business a priority.
So what did you learn on this journey then? So, because we're trying to understand, behind the scenes of your growth. So what was the mistakes that you made, and if you're open to share some of them? Don't
hire friends. Don't hire friends. And sometimes don't hire family. Who I am in life is not who I am in business. And I think that needs to be understood, because at times I used to have this mentality that, I'll help my friends and they'll help me, because of course we all want to see each other grow, but different feelings can come out of that. Resentment can grow out of the fact that even myself, I don't know how to know the boundary between personal and professional. Those are important lessons. I even set them with my family, like, I kind of want to talk about business, but I don't want to talk about business all the time. So somebody did it to me the other day. They messaged me about business and I said, do you know it's a Sunday?
That one's there, and your friend, right?
No, this wasn't a friend, but actually in the past it has been a friend as well. And I've said to people, are you aware it's a Sunday?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like that, they just see you as accessible.
Correct.
Because of the visibility, right?
Correct.
But do you think they'll do the same to every other person? Is it just natural? Because what is it that makes people do that?
I think it's them and their own individual boundaries that they set. But I say, what do you set for yourself? And do you see yourself on the same level as everybody else, as Bill Gates? What's the difference between you and him, for example?
Yeah.
Are you using money to separate it, power or connections? No, I feel like irrespective of where you are in your life, you have to set your own standard for you.
But then I'm going to challenge.
Yeah.
As a entrepreneur, don't you work every day? Aren't you working 24/7?
I've learned now not to.
Right.
I've learned not to. It is a standing point with my team that no one should contact me on Saturday to Sunday, and I have a very intentional personal life now. Mm-hmm. I'm like to my friends, maybe, let's go out to eat. Do you want to come over? I'm going to cook and things like that. Let's do something fun. Of course, it's harder during this time, but I'm very intentional because it helps me enjoy work more. I love what I do. Every day that I wake up, I'm so grateful to God that I get to choose what I do. It doesn't stop it from being hard, but I can put the work in.
Yeah, great. Nah, sick. And just more about the demographic as well. So, are you still focused on women, black women, or are you broadening your demographic when it comes to finance?
I think people always assume that it's black women because I'm a black woman.
Yep.
I don't know if white women get that same stigma, but it is important to see black women talking about finance. My audience is growing, and I do financially coach some men. It definitely is growing. It just depends on the person's needs in general for me to see whether or not I can truly help them, because sometimes I say it's above me. Yeah. And I say go to these particular resources for help.
So that's quite humbling to know when you can't provide that answer.
Yeah.
So how did you get to that stage of feeling comfortable about your own expertise and knowing when to pass people on to other people who can be more helpful?
I think it was from networking with people in the personal finance world. I was like, I can't do everything, and I don't want to do everything. I think one of the most dangerous things anyone can do in life is try to be everything to everyone. When people say, oh, can you do this? Can you look at that? Sometimes I say, yes, of course. But for example, some people say, if you know how to do hair, why don't you do hair? I say, because it's not for me. Yeah. Oh, can you do makeup? Or why don't you start? I absolutely do not have the capacity, and I don't want to. It's a preference. And I think, especially as a black woman, we have to get out of this whole DIY mentality. I don't want to do everything myself. I hire other people to do it for me, and we go from there.
Yeah, no, it's good. I love that. Because sometimes I think maybe it's our parents' mentality that we learn from. We have to do it all ourselves, but in fact, to be more efficient, maybe we can outsource.
Absolutely. Oh, I love me an outsource. Outsourcing now has me sometimes in the middle of the day just staring at the ceiling. And that is nice, because you need room to think. That is the one thing that I cherish now, that I have room to think. I don't have to be on the go looking. And I'm being more conscious of how often I look at screens. I do not enjoy looking at a screen all day. So I try to create even technological boundaries.
Yeah, no, you have to be really intentional about that as well. So why are you doing that?
I feel like we are getting to an era where technology is almost taking over, and we use it to communicate and things like that, but nothing beats face-to-face communication. I'm not getting energy over a Zoom.
Trust.
I need that. I need real life energy, and I never saw myself as someone who was in need of like physical touch as one of my love languages, but I need it. I don't like where the world is heading. Although it's nice that you can work from anywhere, I want to work from anywhere with my friends and my family. People asking your views, the influencers and public figures are the new politicians. Yeah. Let's be honest, people look for us for social commentary, and I think it's fantastic that so many of us have been able to build a career out of this. It's, I was talking to my brother the other day, and I think, the old school notion is go to work, get an education, get a good job, do all of this. And I think somewhere millennials just changed the whole format of how things are going to work, along with social media and things like that. But I say no, it doesn't work that way, and I'm not I'm not caving to do this 9 to 5. I'm 28 and I've been in the corporate world for 6 years, and I'm like, it hasn't worked for me for more than half the time. And I'm now, of course, at a place where I am making enough money and I know how to invest that I feel fine to just work for myself.
So how do you deal with social media? Because the reason I want to kind of talk about this is because, you know, you get your money from social media, from the people that you're talking to, interacting with, engaging, and like there's the dark side and, you know, of social media, and there's good sides. How do you manage not to compare yourself, not to worry too much about the numbers, the likes, the engagement, and still keep your mental health like good?
Because I always think what's coming for me will always be for me, and I always remember that. And I just say it's a completely different time. There are people who talk about personal finance who may have surpassed me in a shorter amount of time, but everyone has a different formula. And the moment people understand that, you won't be trying to equate what someone else has to what you have.
Exactly.
That is important, and everyone has their own direction. I think if people knew what I was building, it's people always say to me, oh, this person's doing what you're doing, and I say, you know, nothing under the sun is new. I tend not to take a lot of things personally, even if other people do, on my behalf. But with social media, there are days, of course, just like anyone, because anyone's human, that I feel like I can lose it. And I'm just like, right, I'm calling this person out, this person wants to try this and things. But most days now, I'm too busy. And that is a powerful place to be in. Half of the time I come online and someone's talking about something, I'm like, mate, I'm crunching numbers, I'm in serious meetings, I do not have the time for this, you know? So I try to stay up to date, but I don't get lost in it, because there's a real life to be had, and it is not in the back and forth of social media.
That's good. I think it's good to have that balance and know, like, okay, I'm gonna get annoyed now, so let me take my time and step back, or like you just have that balance with yourself, knowing that, okay, if things get a bit too much, then I can take a break. And I know you've done that in the past as well.
Oh, yes, when I need to take a break, I take one. And people say, weren't you worried about this? Were you worried about that? And, you know, I really believe in God's divine timing. I'm not rushing anywhere. And when I feel the need to take a break, I do. And I tell my team, listen, today is not the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you'll always be doing something behind the scenes, but rest is a part of work, and it is one that I think we sometimes as children of immigrants do not take seriously enough.
Preach.
Yeah, we have to, because even at one point my mum, so this is the most time me and my mum have ever spent together since I was probably about 3, and she was like, girl, you work hard. And I was just like, yes, now you can see. It doesn't stop her from leaving me alone. Because she's still like, can you help me with this? Because she knows I'm like good with the tech stuff. But when she said that, I said, oh, that's a problem, because I think she works too hard. And I think you need to mirror the change that you want to be, regardless of that person's place in your life. So of course she's the mother, but in any situation, if you want something from someone, everybody has to contribute towards that for it to work properly.
I like that. So we're going to talk about the Bola Sol show. And I'm sure people are wondering, how did you start it? You know, 3 seasons strong. It's got so much potential. I'm not even gonna it's got so much. So when was the moment you realised you wanted to start the Bola Sol show?
There was a series of moments. I can always remember the 2 off the top of my head. The third one, I think I remember the third one now. So first of all, I was at a job I wasn't really too impressed with, and you sent me a podcast. And you said, this is the making of the Oprah Winfrey show. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's nice. I love Oprah. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then I listened to it. And then I think you reiterated it again at a later point. So I just decided to listen into it. And I just fell in love with it. And when it was done, I was like to you, thank you so much for sending that to me. And then I think you said something about it being a shame. No, I said, it's a shame that we don't have anything like this. And you said, we have to become the leaders we want to see. And I said, oh, okay. So I left it and I said, oh, okay, just plotted along. And then Emmanuel, who's also known as the E-Man effect, you know, he said to me, sis, you know, this finance stuff, you're good at it, but I don't think it is like your all. I think there is something else there. He said, I see you as a presenter. I said, oh, really? I said, okay. And then there was a girl at work who was leaving. And she doesn't know anything about me. She didn't know that I had this idea in my head, because I was just like, should I start a show? Should I start a show? And before she was leaving, she came up to me, and that's when I was just like spiritual time and everything. And she stopped and she said, I don't think this job is for you. And I was like, who is this? I knew who it was, but I was just like, who is this? You know, she's leaving, she's, you know, she's quiet. And she's such a lovely person. And she said, I think you're supposed to be a presenter. And I said, well, you don't know, because nobody knew the show, like the show was in my head. So when she said that, I was like,
this is it.
Bet.
This is
And
it.
I said, I got a
3-4
salary and a dream. I was
Yeah.
like, I got a salary and a dream, so let's go. And it was really hard because people were settling down, buying properties, and trusting that process is completely hard. I'm not doing normal YouTube. I'm doing an online talk show. I'm using all my money. I am either crazy or I'm onto something. Look at you.
No,
Like,
I feel this, you know.
Yeah.
I feel it so much.
And
Feel it.
November 4th, 2017 was the first one.
No.
Oh.
Before, how did you launch it? Like, how did you set up shop? Like, because you just missed a whole
did I?
bunch of like.
Okay.
Like, you can't just. I know you got there eventually, but
I spent the summer of 2017 planning.
there we go. So you plan. So you start getting practical with it. So
Yes.
what happened? Like high level.
High level. I literally said I want it to look as good as Oprah Winfrey shows. You know, I do like Wendy Williams, although she is seen as controversial. I liked her setup, and I said, what can I mirror within a budget?
So you looked at experts and said, okay, what can I take from it?
Exactly.
Cool.
I said, what can I take? And I spoke to Josh Bridge, who has the Bridge Media. And I literally said, to him, I want you to do this. And I know it's going to cost me because I want a live audience. So then he said, okay, so we need 2 cameras hiding behind the curtains, looking at the audience. And we need 2 on you. And then I kept talking to set designers, and they were like, minimum £1,000. And I was just like, I do not have £1,000. And then I saw this concept online, and I said, oh my gosh. I said, do they have like backing lights? And they said, yeah. And there were these boxes that I found. I searched high and low for some boxes, which have come in handy now because I'm like moving about. Searched high and low for boxes of the same size, and I was just like, we're going to use that, and we're going to make a pyramid, and we're going to reflect like lights behind it. And I was like to my sister, she bought this chair, it was yellow. I was just like, yes. Dragged it from her house. Shout out my friend Tim, he helped me, dragged it from her house. I got, I think, a big Uber van or something, you know, taped it up with bin bag stuff. And did 2 shows in Peckham Theatre. And it's funny because my friend is John Boyega, and that's where he started his acting career.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and he's such a like big supporter of my show. So yeah, I started, and then I remember I was really nervous. So on October 1st, 2017, I just put it out and I said, everyone's going to be recorded. I didn't even tell everyone what the topics were about.
Mm.
And it sold out.
Mm.
And I was like, and people were like, Bola has sold 100 tickets. People do not know what they are coming for. They just know they are being filmed.
Mm.
And my family came, and people volunteered, like people who I admire so much, like Move with Doyne, who's an entrepreneur who just started her own milk company. Like, great people came, and I just felt so nervous. And one of my friends said to me, "How do you feel?" And I said, "Pregnant with purpose." And
amazing.
And it was so funny because that was the same day I found out my friend was pregnant, and she came to help me. And it was such a fantastic moment. I came out and I just set the intention in the room. I said, let's be loving, let's be honest. I have a problem with how black people are perceived in mainstream media. And I was just like, I want to be part of that change. I don't want to be part of the problem. And what felt hard was feeling like I'm not getting the views I need right now, and no one's really taking the show seriously. But one of the things I will say, to me, that show was and still is a blueprint. Because when some of the biggest companies in the world want to talk to me and want to make sure I can speak well on camera, they go to that point.
It's archived.
It is there. It is in the flesh. I can show it to anyone, and that is a blessing. And to say that I can talk confidently in front of 100 people and mess up on camera and do it again, I'm like, I can do this. You know.
So the reason why I'm just like in awe of that story is because, like, some people die with those dreams in their head.
Yeah.
Like, just to create a simple show.
Yeah.
But you executed.
Yeah.
Some people too scared to do it and don't do it.
Yeah.
But you executed.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the network to even get going and know the right people, the lights, you said, you know, the set designers, like the makeup people.
Yeah.
Like, even just 100 people, people don't even know 100 people. Like,
yeah, I know.
To get
people contacted me and they said, "How did you get 100 people in the room?" And I said, "Love, support. You support people along the way. They support you back."
Yeah. So this is why I respect it so much, what you've done, because as you said, it's a blueprint. And although, like, you would have loved more views, you would have loved more people, more seasons, but you showed yourself, as you called it, pregnant with purpose, that you can do something from just an idea in your head and make it a reality.
Correct.
You also showed that you've got a talent presenting, and you proved to yourself that you can do something. With how much budget was it that you for season one?
£4,000 to £5,000.
£4,000 to £5,000. So, as you said, like, you knew at that point there was your friends getting married, buying houses, and you could have easily went that route as well. But you chose to invest in yourself. You chose to do something different, and that's a gamble. It's a risk.
It's a big risk because I was working for a top 4 company. I didn't know what they'd say.
Yeah.
Will I be fired? Is it a big deal?
Yep.
And I go under a different name for work purposes, and people were finding me on social media. I started like unfollowing people and like being like unfriending them on Facebook because I was like, no, like this is almost too attention too quickly. But yeah, I guess sometimes we don't know how much of an impact we have until we just do, until we start.
Yeah. So no, shout out the Bola Sol show, and you know I'm glad that you were able to do it, and it's there, as you said, like it's a record. It's, you know, nowadays CV is online, and like literally you can use it, as you say, in any purpose.
Absolutely.
So what were the so for people who are thinking of, I want to create a show or create some sort of reality TV or something, anything, what was the biggest challenge you had in creating that show, and how did you overcome it?
The greatest challenge I had was mentally being in 5 places at once. That was really hard. One thing I've said about future shows going forward, I don't want to know. If we have prior meetings about it, and here's what I want to do and here's what I want to execute, I always say, you know, don't talk to me. I know this is a privileged position. Don't talk to me about the money because I've come to you with an idea. I will always find a way to get the money. I say, like, let's have these meetings, let's do this. On the day, I want to be happy as Larry because I need to make the guests feel comfortable. I need to make myself feel comfortable. I need to be in good energy. Before I do a show, I detox. I do not like to talk to anybody. I don't like to be on social media. I don't like other people's energy because I need to be in tune with my guests, and I want them to know that they, at that point, are my highest priority. One of the best things I've learned from Oprah through watching her interviews over the years is when you get into the room with someone, be a journalist first. Of course, you're human, so that's always a prerequisite. Be a journalist first. Don't get too caught up in being starstruck or overly hyped. Be a journalist first. That is your job. Of course, make them feel comfortable. Like, don't be like a robot. But yeah, that's key. And I don't want to know. Back in the day, I used to look at like the cameraman and the director and be like this and that, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Because I'm like, I'm not okay because I'm looking at your reaction. Your reaction isn't great. Now I don't want to know. And now I say to people, you lot discuss it. Learned this from Beyonce. Discuss it amongst yourselves. Everybody has a job to do, and I always make sure everybody gets paid, even if it means Christmas. Boy, one Christmas I did not have the money. I got all my nieces and nephews light up balloons. That's all I could afford. Right. I said, that's what you're gonna get. But I say, let everybody do their job. As long as I'm fed, hydrated, my guests are fed and hydrated. That's all that matters. I don't want to be asked too often if I'm okay. Pick yourself up. You know, sometimes you'll get it wrong. Sometimes you'll be in a tongue twister. And sometimes I'll just be like, like, I think we had some live shows where they're like, do it again and do it with more this and that. And I've just learned to be more natural in front of the camera and be okay with messing up and being like, go again. Because you have to just learn to quickly talk to yourself and get the result you need.
Powerful. You even met Oprah as well, didn't you?
I did. I did. That's great. That's
amazing. What was that like? Was it?
Surreal. It was so surreal because I was sitting at the side
of.
So the room I was in, there were all these chairs and they were separated. It was like, and there was an aisle in the middle. So I wasn't sitting at the front, and I was sitting behind this girl with this really big afro. So straight away you look at the obstacles in front of you and around you, and you say, I'm not going to really exist in this room, like, and she's not really going to see me. And I said, they're just going to come down the middle. Little did I know, the side I was sitting on, they were going to come down the side. So Oprah stops about here. And she turns around and her hands are clasped like this and she says, well, hello. And she literally says that to me and I'm like, hi. And then they go on stage, and that was all I needed from that moment. But it taught me as well the importance of acknowledging yourself in a room, regardless of the obstacles around you.
Just for people who don't know, why was she there? What event was it?
There was a movie out.
A Twinkle, something like that?
Yeah, A Wrinkle in Time.
Wrinkle in Time, okay.
And shout out to Vamp UK, because without them I wouldn't have been in that room. Yeah.
Excellent. So we're going to move on to now just like some advice, like growth advice.
Like this.
So why do you think you are where you are today?
Audacity.
Explain.
You have to be audacious with your goals. You have to be willing to fail. Crying is a part of the process. Sometimes being broke is a part of the process. And you can hit rock bottom in many ways. Financially, emotionally, with your friends and family. One part of your life can be going so well. And I have learned the art of compartmentalizing, which is there are times when I can be having a really bad day. Doesn't mean I need to cancel being on camera. There's a time to suck it up and there's a time to break down. You really have to, I pray for discernment to know the difference and when to say, I'm gonna need a break. And I always let my team know in advance, yeah, I'm gonna need a break. So if you're gonna go for it, be audacious about it, because it's going to be hard. It's not always going to go in your favor. You're going to have to apologize. You're not always going to be right. You're also going to have to really put your foot down with your own ideas and not let other people overtake your vision. Because your vision, you and your vision were there before anybody else decided to care. So do not let this big team, all these people come in and be like, this is what I want to see you do. I'll be like, haha, no, in these meetings. Or, okay, maybe I'll think about it.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
Don't worry so much. I spend a lot of my time worrying and doubting myself and running back to a corporate structure that was not fit for me. Don't worry. Don't overthink it. And don't stop enjoying life. I think there's times I haven't had money that I've locked myself away in my room. Go for a walk, get outside, get some greenery. If it's winter, go for a walk at 12 p.m. in the day. Make sure you get your vitamin D. Do something. Take that holiday. Anytime I've been made redundant, I take a holiday. Or if I quit my job, I take a holiday. Because, and a holiday can be in many forms. Even if you can't afford to go abroad, can you afford to, I don't know, go on the outskirts, tell someone where you are, get some alone time for you as well. That's important.
So that kind of wellness approach, the spirituality.
Oh, I'm so into that. Yeah, it's key.
What books allowed you to grow beyond your everyday person?
Ego is the Enemy.
Gee, shout out Ryan Holiday.
I know, that book is amazing. I thought to reread it. Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. But The Richest Man in Babylon, that is a spiritual lesson as well as a financial lesson by Napoleon Hill.
So just in general, why did you pick those types of books, and what did it do for you?
Ego is the Enemy allows me to think of my pride often and ask where I'm coming from in every conversation, in every situation, which is why when I do get overwhelmed by work, I tend to kind of self-isolate, because I say my energy is not certain and I do not want to be an emotional burden on other people as a result of that. It doesn't mean I don't share my problems, but I think there's a time and a place and an execution to do so. And Ego is the Enemy really did that for me. The Richest Man in Babylon, the journey to financial freedom isn't always about money. It's about mindset, it's about attitude, and that can only come when you really believe. It's like when you have to fall back and you hope someone will catch you. You have to trust it, and in a way you have to trust yourself that you will catch yourself.
Yes.
And that is the whole point of matching that with like Ego is the Enemy. Catch yourself before you fall. Don't let your ego be your biggest downfall.
Excellent. 3 practical tips that you would give anybody listening in terms of personal growth without permission. So not waiting for people to give you that cosign. Like, what 3 practical steps for personal growth without permission?
Do not look for validation when you speak to others, especially those whose opinions you truly care about.
That's hard.
It's very hard. It's very hard. There are some things I do and people say, "Oh, Bola, why did you do that?" Or I say this decision isn't up for discussion. I said it to my mum recently. She said, "I think you should wait before you do this." And I said to her, this decision is not up for discussion. You have to make it clear for people that you're an individual and you think like so. Of course, you can care and you can factor in their decisions, but don't stop it from what you truly know, you know? So that's 1. 2, get comfortable making mistakes and sometimes showing your ass. You're not always going to get it right. It's important to stay humble. It's important to know that at any point you can lose. No one is above losing. And 3, learn learn to love the process. I love to look back and laugh on things and say, oh my gosh, like what was I wearing? Or oh, I just embarrassed myself, or oh, I'm so silly, or look how crazy this is. I even try not to use the word crazy, but oh, look how silly I was, or I was acting like and do you know what I say, man, she was having fun.
Yeah, not taking yourself too serious.
I do not like to take myself too seriously. A lot of people think I'm super serious, but like my friends and family know that I'm like a goofball, because I'm just like, it's not every day you have to enjoy your life.
Yeah. And in terms of what's yet to come in the pipeline, it's obviously October 2020 at the moment. What are you looking forward to? What have you got in the pipeline that you can share?
The release of my book. That will be out January 2021. So the announcement for that is coming soon. The Bola Sol show is coming back by the end of the year.
Yes.
Very excited for the guests, who I won't name. Just Rich Girl Chronicles is expanding.
Explain that, we haven't spoken
So
about
Rich Girl
that.
Chronicles is an accountability group for women, where we discuss finances, we discuss budgeting, saving, credit, debt. We get you in a good place on a financial educational scale. And yeah, we can go from there. Yeah,
and in terms of like all the stuff that you're doing, what are you trying to? Because this is all growth, and you've gone through a journey. What are you trying to achieve eventually, with the hustle, the side hustles, the main hustles, all of it? What is it all leading up to?
All to make every woman in the world financially confident.
I like that. Good. So people who are watching this, listening, and they want to achieve their goals, they want to step out, they want to grow, but they don't have that self-belief yet. What advice would you give them? And how did you get yours? 2 questions. What advice would you give them, and how did you get yours?
The advice I would give them is lean on the people around you. The people around you should be making you feel good.
Yeah.
If they're not, put the X in the box.
Counsel them.
For self-esteem, I hope you pray. I hope anyone who has low self-esteem, pray and talk to yourself with affirming words. It helps, because sometimes you just have to calm your nerves by saying, I am worthy of the things I dream of. And also, I always remember that this is a short life. I want to go out on a high. Almost once a week, I reflect on the fact that if at any point I was to go, I would feel very happy with my life and how it's been so far. And
I do the same thing.
That is a blessing.
I do the same thing.
It is a blessing to say I'm so happy with what I've done. Of course, there's always more that you want to do, but it is
that contentment.
That contentment. There's nothing like it. And that contentment isn't based on how much I've achieved. It's more about the impact I've made. And has that impact been more than material things?
And how did you get your self-belief?
My family, my friends, falling down and knowing that sometimes somebody was just going to say, oh, get up, and it's not the worst thing in the world that you've fallen. Yeah, my support system. Have a support system. Everyone needs one. And you'll find one. Everyone will find one, even if you don't speak to your family, even if you've fallen out with your friends, even if you're going through a breakup or divorce, whatever it is. You've been at 50 million and now you've got £5 left or whatever. Find a support system.
Excellent. So thank you so much, Bola, for joining the podcast. I really appreciate your time. So many gems. I'm going to listen back and write notes. I think there's a lot that people can take from your journey, and you're only getting started, the way I see it. And I can't wait to see where life takes you. I think you're well connected. I think you've got the face for it. You've got the brand.
Thank you.
You've got a lot going for yourself anyway, and you've got the energy. So it's going to be great to just
see the trajectory.
Yeah, and see it just birth out. And yeah, just thank you for the time being on the podcast, and I appreciate it. Any last words?
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you as well. Like, you move in positive silence. I know that when I don't hear from you, it's because you're up to stuff, and that's fantastic. I feel like your head is in the game, and it's a blessing to see. I'm glad to see how we've all come up.
Yeah, thank you so much. Perfect.